And if you're going to go ahead and call Mike Bloomberg a capitalist, go ahead and allow Bernie to call himself a democratic socialist, because it's the same damn thing. Let me explain. I have a great piece about this, about DanaLash.com. And as I said, he is not a capitalist. He is proposing, for starters, a $5 trillion tax increase. Isn't our whole economy like $4.5 trillion? Mm-hmm. Okay. He's proposing literally a $5 trillion tax increase. Like, so much money, you almost don't believe it because it's trillion, right? It's like a consonant away from frillion. And his $5 trillion tax plan is actually higher than Joe Biden's. It is. It is actually, it's higher than Joe Biden's. That's not a moderate, and it's not a capitalist. Now, one of the things he's going to do is roll back Trump's tax cuts. He needs to. That's what he wants to do. He thinks it needs to be done. He's going to raise, and then he says, I'm going to raise rates on wealthy people, and we're going to crack down on tax avoidance, and we're going to reduce tax advantages, and he's going to restore top rates back to what they were under the Obama era. Mm-hmm. And that's what he wants. That's fine for him, because he's worth $11 trillion. So that's not capitalist. You're putting an undue financial burden on business just because they exist to do business in the United States. That's not capitalist. He's not a capitalist. No capitalist proposes something like this. No capitalist thinks that this is in any way representative of capitalism. So that's the one thing. And by the way, the $5 trillion tax hikes, that is, yes, it's less than Sanders' $16 trillion tax increase. But are we really going to use that as the standard of measure for this? The other thing is that he actually wants to return to the Paris Agreement. I don't know why. He thinks that that's something that needs to be done. He wants to re-enter. Trump was smart to get out of it. And now Michael Bloomberg wants to go back. Now, you remember what the Paris Agreement was. Emmanuel Macron was so mad. He was just blah, 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 blah about Trump when Trump was like, I don't want it. France gets 3/4 of its electricity from nuclear energy. And this, so it's easy for them to back it. And essentially, and this was something that was with the IPCC, and that's the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate, blah, blah, from the United Nations. I don't like anything from the United Nations. So the premise of it is the planet's going to melt, and all the animals, including polar bears, will die. And in order to stop this, you must give us all your tax money, or just all of it, all your money, period. So what we do is we pay the sun to stop it. We literally send money to the sun. I don't know what they're doing with it, but in order to stop the planet from overheating, we've got to give government our money. Do you see how that works? Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, I don't know how you can't trust them with this whole coronavirus thing. They can't seem to really stop it right away.
Because you've got to use money.
But they're going to somehow fix the planet's climate?
Yeah.
With tax money?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, no, it's
I mean,
sure.
That makes so much sense,
Okay.
Kane. I just don't know where your head's at right now.
Okay.
Thought you wanted to save the planet, but okay. So he wants to go back to the Paris Agreement. That's not a capitalist move. That is not capitalist. Someone who's a capitalist isn't like, let's get the government involved to make decisions about money and economic structures and blah, blah, blah. That's not a capitalist position. And then let us not forget and I'm going to put this in Slack because I wasn't going to play it, but now I'm going to. Let us not forget the way that he talked about taxing the poor out of their discretionary income so that he doesn't, they don't buy things like sodas or hamburgers or anything that he doesn't think is healthy for them to eat. And so that's one of the things that's not a capitalist position. We have some of it here. That's not a capitalist position. It's like 2 minutes though.
That's why you do want to do exactly what a lot of people say you don't want to do. The question is, do you want to pander to those people, or do you want to get them to live longer? And there's just no question. If you raise taxes on full sugary drinks, for example, they will drink less. And there's just no question that full sugar drinks are one of the major contributors to obesity.
So,
and obesity.
I don't care what it's I don't care. You don't tell people what to do with their own money. You don't. That is not capitalist. That is not someone who is a capitalist who says stuff like this. Stop saying that the guy is a capitalist. He's not. He's a statist. The fact that Bernie Sanders is a communist who calls himself a socialist, thus makes Mike Bloomberg's non-capitalism look moderate, does not mean that you can define Mike Bloomberg's non-existent capitalism as capitalism. He only likes it for himself.